Welcome back. Last time we had a homework, which is try to calculate the average value from a list of numbers. I hope you already done that. If you haven't finished yet, let's go over this today. Okay, so this is what we had. We create a list of numbers. We can have a list of random numbers. Actually change a little bit so that we can see that it's more contiguous numbers. We want to make a nice plot in the future in today, so you will see it. Okay, so how do we do average for those numbers? So we can do two ways. One is let's write a just plain Python code without writing a function, or we can do a function which makes the code more nice, modularized. We like that way, but let's do it step by step. The first step is calculate the average. How do we calculate the average? So it's actually, if we know the total numbers, okay, which is 6 in this case, and if we know the sum of them, so we can do the sum divided by the total number, and then we're able to get average value, right? So let's do a sum. We have done this last time, but let's try to do it again. So we can start with sum equal to 0, that we create a variable, and then we can go a loop, right? Go over loop. So we can have two ways to do it. One is for I in range. So we can have something like, how do we know how many number we have in this list? So there's a function called len, which is a length of a list. So you can put this over there. So that we can do is this give me the length of the numbers, the list. Okay, so in this case we see there's 6 items, so this will return 6. Okay, and then the I is index, go through every single one. So what we have is we can get every single one from the numbers. So we can say, let's try to print them first. You can say that we can have numbers, and you can use index with I. So what you see here, this we will see all those numbers, we'll print them in the loop. Again, what is a loop? So we'll talk about that. It's repeating everything inside the loop. So it's repeat. How many times repeat? It's just showing from here, right? All right, so we have 6 of them. So how do we get sum? We don't have to print them. Print them give us some information. We know how the code looks like, but we don't have to print them. We can just use sum, which equal to sum plus numbers and with I, and this will sum them together. And last time we used the formatting with sum plus equal to numbers. Some may ask, what's difference? They are same. Actually, they are equivalent for these two ways. You can write either a little bit longer, which is this way, sum equal to sum plus numbers, or we can use the short. This is the short format, which is plus equal to, which equal to this much, sum equal to sum plus. Okay, so you can use either way. If we want to, if you think that this is you think that is easy for you, that's fun. I like short coding. So if that can make my code shorter, I'd be happy to use it. Okay, so this is sum, right? So finish it. Let's see what we can have for the sum. So let's try it. So if we go over this, everything go one of them, we add them together, the sum equal to 21, which is correct, I believe. So how do we do the average? So average is not sum. Average is just, let's create a new variable called average, which equal to sum divided by the length of numbers. Okay, so what is sum? Let's try to print it. Print average, right? So now we have it. The average is 3.5. We can verify it to see if that's correct. I believe it is. So that's the number. That is what we have. Though 21 divided by 6, that's what we have. Okay, so this is one way to write it. You can have Another way to do it is we can have still use for loop, but now it's instead of using I, we can change different things. So we can use a little bit different way. So we don't have to use the number, the index in this case, but we have used for number in numbers, which means I will go over them one by one. I don't care the index. I just say, what is the first one? Give me the value from the list, which is 1 in this case. Now give me next one, 2, give me next one, 3. So this for loop will just give every single one the content inside this list. So it doesn't care the index, it will go sequentially from starting to the end. Okay, so we can do the same thing. Okay, yeah, all right, I'm still here. So you see the Colab is free to use, so it's also interactive use. So if you don't use for a while, it will kick you out because it's free. All right, so you can click it. I'm not a robot, I'm still using it, so it will let you continue. All right, so now we can have we can have use sum plus equal to, let's use different number. Okay, so we need to initialize the sum again with 0 because sum already become the sum which was 21. So let's reinitialize that equal to 0 again. So we use that again. So what is our average? So same average is, we still need to calculate the length, and then this is average. Let's print it. Average. So what do we have? So we got 3.5. So they are equivalent, these two coding, but you can see they are a little different in the sense of when you try to access data. Here we access data by the index. The I is index. We go over one by one, use numbers. Use this array index format. You have square bracket, you put index into it, you get them one by one in the loop. But here, it's a little different. We don't care index. We just let me get the value of in the list. We get them one by one, so we can have them to calculate it. All right, so this is why we can put calculate average. So let's put them together into a function. That's better. So let's try to have function. Remember how to create function? Last time you need to start with define def and give a function name and then give parameters and start work on the body. Okay, so what is the function? Function name we can have. Let's just use average, right? And inside, what is the parameter to this function? Because average, typically I will pass a list. So I would say it's a list. I just give a name that is a list. All right. So, and inside that, I can have copy the content over here. You can see that I copy them, but look at this. The very first one has indent, but rest of it don't. So we need to manually adjust them by using tab. If I highlight all of them, select all of them and use tab, it will indent a little bit. So we have, they are aligned. So that means all of them are coding inside this average function. So again, the function at the end will have to return a value. Okay, return this is the function body, and we have to return a value. So what the value we need to return? Just return average. So that's it. So let's run it. You see that's check mark, means we finished running. Now we can use it. Now let's see if I use average and I put my numbers into it. What is numbers? That is my declaration here, my variable, which is a list. So I put the list into this average function. I expect this function will return the average value of those lists. So let's try run it. So you see, we got same number, it's the exact same answer, right? So this is the homework. You see, you can do it, right? Either we don't use a function or use function. Again, always try to modularize your code by create functions that you can use them over and over again. Let's say, for example, we have created another number, another, so which can have like 2, 4, 8. Let's just have some regular, right? Some kind of numbers, right? And then we can calculate average for this another list. So we can get the, oh, what do we have? That's interesting. Are we getting same thing? I'm not sure we got same thing. I think we had a bug in this code. Where is the bug? I think the average certainly not 3.5. The average should be bigger than something between this. About 8 sometime. All right, so what is the bug? Why we got 3.5? So I notice that here, this is our function here, average. We just copy paste everything from here over here. But look at this. This uses hard-coded numbers, and which means every time you call average, it always go to this numbers, which is this. When you try to change it to another numbers, and then it doesn't use it, it still uses the original numbers. So how do we change it? Well, actually we create, this is a parameter. This is something if you haven't used function before, when you pass a parameter into your function, you need to use it. This one changes. So which means that let's use the list instead of numbers. We replace them into a list. That's our name. And the same as here, it's not the numbers. We need to change that to a list. So that give us, whenever you change the list, it will recompute for the new list. Let's try to do it again. So average numbers is still 3.5. So let's say average another, which is 8.0, which sounds right to me. So that is average. So you see it changed. Okay. So that is what we have. So let's create another function. We call them a square. It's just square. Let's create another function called square. We can define it. So here, let's say square, but we can still doing this square by have a list again. Okay. So if we have a list, we want to return. In this case, I want to return a list of new numbers, not just one number. So here, average is one number, but if I want to get square, that is a list of new numbers. So how do I do that? So we can create something, create an empty list at the beginning. Let's say we call it results equal to empty list. So look, this is list is empty, doesn't have anything. Okay, so what do we do? Here we can have just calculate for the loop again. Say a number in a list. So we can try to do it again. And now we do is, let's say your results dot append. Remember we used this before, append. That is append to append a new number or item into this list. So what is the new item we have? The number is current number, so the new we want to use a square, which means the number times itself. That is a square, right? So we append it. So that's it. That is a loop. You go over this one by one. We have a list, for example, this, and then we're able to calculate the square of every single one. So at the end, what do? We just return the results. Okay, we don't see any problem. So let's try it. Let's try to see what is our new function, square numbers. That looks right to me. That's it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4.5, and then we have square of those numbers, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. And let's try to do another square. Let's use another as our input. So we got a square of every single number in this another list. They look good to me. Okay, so we solve the problem today. We create our first average function. Then we create even extend that to new square function, which has create a new list. But what we can do with them, one very interesting thing, very nice to use Colab to learn Python, is we can see the results not just in text, but we want to view them in a plot. So how do we do that? This is something I hope that you found that more interesting. It's inside this you need to import some new library from Python. So Python has a lot of packages. Every time if you need it, you need to import it. So the package name called matplotlib, you can see that, matplotlib. So what you need to do, you can see there are some, they have hints given to us, so you can select them. So this is what you need to do. So you need to import matplotlib.pyplot as a short name. This is a short name. See, this name is kind of too long. This is the package name. This is inside the package. So I'm kind of getting too long for that. I use a very short name to replace them. So this is something you need to do. You need to import it first. Once you import it, you can plot it. That's how to do that. So use plt.plot. Then you can put the numbers into it. Let's see. Very nice. We can see a plot, a chart of those numbers. What are those numbers? These numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So you can see that this is index 0, that is 1, index 1, that is 2. So you actually create a line chart to show your data. Okay, so we can do a little bit more interesting by create plot. We just create something called a square, right? So let's try to use the square, use the numbers. So let's see what we got. All right, you see this is a line, a straight line, because what you have is the linear numbers, so that's continuous. But now we use square of them, it's become a curve. See, when at the beginning that is 1, but the first one, which is 2, you got square, that is 4, and 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16. So you see you got a accelerated curve. We go up faster. So this is the plot. Okay, so this is what we have today. Hope you enjoyed this video and be able to complete this first homework and be able to create your own function. More importantly, we can do a plot using, matplotlib inside this Colab. And this is really easy to plot a chart. We will go over more in the future if you like it. And then please, if you do like it, please consider to like this video and also subscribe it. And we will continue tell you more about visualization using plot. You will see a lot of things very interesting, not just a line chart, but a lot of very sophisticated, even 3D chart we can create using this matplotlib. Okay, till next time, I will see you. Bye bye, everybody.